The plot of Dune revolves around a complex and intricate story set in a distant future where human society has spread across the universe. The narrative follows the Atreides family, particularly Duke Leto, his concubine Lady Jessica, and their son Paul, as they navigate political intrigue and power struggles on the desert planet of Arrakis, also known as Dune. The planet is the only source of valuable substance called the spice, which is essential for space travel and highly sought after. As the Atreides family relocates to planet Arrakis, they become entangled in a web of betrayals orchestrated by their rivals, the Harkonnens and the Emperor. The story unfolds with themes of prophecy, power, and destiny as Paul discovers his extraordinary abilities and rises to lead the native Fremen people in a rebellion against the oppressive forces controlling Arrakis. The plot of Dune is rich with intricate details and complex characters, a tale of epic proportions that weaves together elements of science fiction, religion, politics, the consequences of power, and mysticism in a captivating and immersive narrative.
Duke Leto actually manages to hurt the Baron in his failed assassination attempt. Duke Leto. Atreides is a tragic figure in the lore of Dune. He is pure-hearted and righteous, and he is ultimately assassinated because of those positive qualities after being betrayed by a trusted person. There is no getting around the sadness in the character's death. But at the very least, the film does let him get one last shot in against his greatest enemy. Just as in the book, Leto tries to kill Baron Vladimir Harkonnen by biting down on a trick molar and breathing poisonous gas into the antagonist's face. But in Frank Herbert's version of events, this is wholly ineffectual, and the Baron walks away from the encounter unscathed. In the adaptation, the plan doesn't work out as hoped, but the Baron is affected by the poison and has to medically recuperate. Liet Kynes dies heroically instead of delusional in the desert. Liet Kynes being gender-swapped for Dune. Part 1 is not a notable change all by itself, as it's not a character at all defined by his masculinity, but there are still two deviations from the text that involve the character. The first involves their death. In the novel, Liet Kynes is punished by the Harkonnens for his allegiance with the Atreides, and he is left out in the desert to die. After becoming dehydrated and delusional from heat exhaustion, he is killed when he is caught in a naturally occurring event on Arrakis called a spice blow. In the film, Liet Kynes goes out much more heroically. After helping Paul and Lady Jessica escape, she plans on hitching a ride on a worm to reunite with the Fremen, but she is stabbed by an enemy soldier. Before dying, she thumped her fist on the sand, summoning a worm to devour her and her enemies. The idea of Fremen. Fundamentalists is original. In addition to Chani's perspective on the faith, another standout deviation from the text is the introduction of the idea that the Fremen living in the southern hemisphere of the planet is far more zealous than those who live in the north. The presented example of this is Stilgar, who is said to be from the south and is eager to accept every sign that Paul Chosen one. It's a smart change made by the filmmakers for the adaptation in that it introduces a literal line for Paul to not cross. If he does make his way south and meets with the leaders of the Fremen, he will seal his fate to lead a horrific war across the cosmos.
The movie doesn't do the full-time jump from the book. Of all the changes made from the source material in both Dune Part 1 and Dune Part 2, this is the most consequential. In the book, Paul and Lady Jessica's ingratiation into Fremen society comes along with a 2-year time jump. This does not happen in the adaptation. There is a montage sequence in Dune Part 2 that lightly brushes over Paul's desert training, Jessica's operation, and the ongoing guerrilla war, but it doesn't cover 2 years worth of events. Paul and Chani don't have a baby together and said baby isn't killed. During the time jump in the book, Paul and Chani have a son that they name after Paul's father, Leto. Like his namesake, however, the baby dies tragically during an attack by House Harkonnen. Paul and Chani have an intimate relationship in Dune Part 2, but not enough time transpires in the story as adapted for them to have a child. The ending. Villeneuve's Dune 2, as the director himself had anticipated in a recent promotional interview dedicated to this very topic. You can find Villeneuve's statements on the ending of his Dune 2 here. In the film, Chani completely renounces Paul's new role. By accepting the role of the Mahdi of the Fremen, their messiah, Paul self-crowns as the new emperor of the universe and takes Princess Irulan, daughter of the old emperor, as his wife. This does not happen in the novel. In fact, Chani remains faithful to Paul even when the protagonist agrees to marry for political reasons.